This person is all up in their feelings about you at this time with this energy of, I didn't know what love felt like until you came along. There's a sense that the two of you have crossed some sort of threshold recently. Trust has been established. This person has been able to kind of relax in your presence. Maybe you opened up about something, you shared something with them that was like very personal, or they saw you in a moment of vulnerability, or even in a moment of personal empowerment and courage that it feels like has unlocked a door within the emotional space that has helped them to kind of like focus very intently upon you as embodying the necessary qualities and characteristics of what they are looking for, not just in a partner that serves surface level needs, but is somebody that, as they can now envision the future, building with you. Maybe this is somebody that wants to start a family with you, wants to settle down, wants to get married, and they are seeing that you're the type of person that can definitely, do your fair share of the heavy lifting within a partnership. Even if that was just, you broke down and cried in front of this person, it allowed an opportunity for them to kind of like activate a part of themselves where they needed to hold space for you to express freely. And in that, they see that the two of you work really well in tandem with one another within a partnership. This is somebody who now feels very empowered to like let their guard down, to relax a little bit more, to be just very like natural with you, because you have been the first person to kind of like extend that sort of token of affection, which you might not have even seen that as a token of affection. Like, I was just being honest, or it was just a very like natural response or reaction in the moment, but it is something that has served as a gift for this person, because you have opened up and almost entrusted them with your authenticity in a way that like previous people or recent people that they've tried to connect with just weren't able to do. So this is again causing this person to kind of like look towards the wider horizon, or like the bigger future with you, not just as something where it's like, okay, we'll see how things play out, we'll see how things go. This is something that they are becoming a lot more focused on. I don't want to just leave things to chance. This is something that the vibe feels right between the two of us. You have been your authentic self, or you've trusted me enough with these aspects of you that are kind of like beyond kind of the casual, performative, surface layer presentation of who you are as a person. And they find that to be very endearing, and it holds a lot of promise that there is open invitation for them as well to kind of take off the masks, take off the armor, to let you in, even to the parts of them that maybe sort of difficult to deal with, or maybe very incomprehensible to other people that they've tried to connect with recently, or romances of the past. This is somebody that is feeling this kind of natural urge to sort of flow towards you, energetically speaking, with optimism and great expectations as far as what the future can hold. We also have, I know that we have a soul connection. Yeah, so this person is definitely feeling all of those lovey-dovey feelings about you. They're listening to the love songs, and those love songs are starting to make sense now as far as you are concerned. This is somebody that is starting to, kind of like open their heart space to the idea of like, okay, maybe it's time for me to like increase the nature of romantic efforts, romantic gestures. Maybe it's okay for me to trust that you, the viewer, are a safe space to be like a good caretaker of this person's, almost what feels like it's almost like they've been walking around with a broken heart. This is somebody that's done their best to kind of patch up the damage from previous heartbreaks, but they have kind of like had this understanding in some sort of way, or maybe this is, kind of a skewed perspective that they were so damaged, like damaged beyond repair from previous heartbreaks. Maybe this is something where, they were dealing with people in the past that they were like incompatible with in a variety of ways, and they kept trying to like force the situation. They were taken for granted, or it was just something that like really wasn't a good match, on those deep levels, or in the ways that really matter to like have something stable, have something long term. And this person like internalized all of that, sort of like, maybe I'm just not good at love. Maybe that's just something that's not within my skill set in this lifetime. And now you've come along, and without even knowing it, it's almost like this person is sort of rethinking all of that. Maybe you're the type of person that can see beauty within all of that kind of like disappointment, within shattered hopes, that the ghosts of those experiences still remain within this person's heart space, within that energetic body. This is somebody, it feels like, that is very timid when it comes to expressing vulnerability. This is somebody that may kind of present this sort of like, I'm fine, I'm unbothered, that was a long time ago, I just move forward, I just keep pushing forward, everything's great. One of those I'm fine kind of people, you know, and really it's like there's a lot going on emotionally, and that has always been something which has gotten like positive reinforcement from people around them, or it's just something that has worked for them. And they almost feel comfortable enough in your presence that it's like, maybe I can introduce you to the side of me that isn't always fine, that does have this kind of like deep sense of emotional longing for somebody that is not just going to like contribute to or reinforce that kind of sense of maybe brokenness or flawed energy or like damaged energy inside. Maybe you're the type of person that, you know, can show me the way to a different understanding within myself. Like they're already sort of feeling that, like you're healing a heaviness that they have carried within. They're no longer as interested in kind of what may have been sort of like a broken record, a revolving karmic loop of like thoughts, memories, even like flashbacks, you know, something where they could even have like dreams about previous partners, and they've spent a lot of time kind of in this energy of regret, sort of like what went wrong, what they wish they had done better, almost like I wish I hadn't done that, wish I hadn't said that. Like that's been a regular part of their internal reality, their kind of mental reality for quite some time. And you've come along and you've shown them this level of vulnerability that it's kind of like piqued their interest, almost like it's more interesting what's happening with you than that energy of kind of just punishing themselves for circumstances in the past that they are now powerless to change. So you are disempowering those memories, like the grip that those memories have had upon this person, psychologically, emotionally, and energetically. They are inserting themselves more readily and more excitedly within this present moment in the here and now. And they see this as almost kind of like, not that you've sort of come along and saved them from anything, but it's almost like you're magnetizing them to truly live in the midst of an experience of closure. It feels like it's been very hard for this person to sort of forgive themselves for things in the past, or forgive certain people for things that have happened. This is somebody who's carried around a lot of like regret, a lot of hurt, and they kind of just stuffed it in, just bottled it all up inside. They may present as like a very sort of happy-go-lucky person, very confident, very like they got everything going on, nothing bothers them, you know, and the truth is, like deeply inside, this is somebody who still carries a lot of wounds from past situations. But since you've come into their life, and again, some sort of breakthrough, some sort of threshold that has been crossed between the two of you recently, this has helped this person to kind of drop some of that weight, drop some of that burden. It's almost like you opened up and again showed that moment of vulnerability, whatever that looked like. And the instinct was to kind of drop something that has been sitting very heavily within them, energetically speaking, to kind of like come towards you and either sort of support you in your moment of vulnerability, or to really have to like stand at attention and sort of hear you out as far as ways in which you may have needed to sort of reinforce your boundaries. You've, you know, asserted your autonomy, something that has happened that it feels like now that the dust has settled and like time has passed, maybe a little time has passed, maybe it's been like a couple of months, or, you know, kind of like an ongoing process of sort of you opening up, you sharing, you continuing to surprise this person and sort of show them new ways to relate to a potential romantic partner. And as they're then kind of in their alone time, feels like at night they often sort of get lost in thought as they're laying in bed trying to go to sleep. It's almost like their brain won't shut off. They're thinking about all the regrets, all the things that they wish they could do different. Only now they're starting to notice like those things are not as interesting. The grip of those things are not as interesting. I find myself dreaming of what a future with you could look like, that I feel like I have finally aligned with somebody that is bringing my attention to the experience in the here and now, that the past is gone, that can't be changed, but this present moment, this is very real. These are the seeds of intention that can be planted and tended in order for a harvest of a better kind of life to be able to be kind of gathered up further down the road between the two of you. So they got a lot of gratitude for that. Like, you have inspired them to not give so much time and attention to those sort of broken and sad stories or that broken energy inside. But this is somebody that almost wants to kind of give you their heart, that might look almost like a patchwork quilt. There's little bits of kind of like fond memories and disappointments, times when they acted in integrity, times when they didn't, things that they may recognize as like real shortcomings, flaws, or defects or about them, and things that are kind of just like, I don't know, this is just what somebody told me about myself, and I wasn't really feeling in very high vibration, so I just took that on as a form of self-punishment. Like, they want to kind of give you all of that and say, can you help me make sense out of this? Can you help me to find something that is kind of like lovable or redeemable about all of this? Because the weight of that performative mask, that I'm fine attitude, that just keep pushing forward, just kind of walk beyond the past, all of that, it feels like is a very heavy weight that this person has been carrying for a long time. And in your presence, they feel confident and comfortable enough to kind of like, I don't need to carry that around anymore, because what's happening between us in the here and now is far more exciting. So this is somebody it feels like that is just instinctually kind of like making energetic space for whatever it is that's going to develop between the two of you next. Yeah, we also have your energy is intoxicating and it's pulling me in. So they see you as somebody who is sitting in like divine feminine energy, regardless of gender. You are not only just in kind of like a receptive mode, but it's almost like this fierce feminine energy. You are speaking your mind, you are speaking your truth, even if that truth is uncomfortable. Maybe it's things they haven't wanted to hear, or it's things that you've opened up about, being very kind of like honest about experiences you've been through, motivations that you have, goals and dreams. Kind of maybe you've shared some things about, experiences in your life that weren't your finest hour, but you've done so with a level of kind of like honesty. They see that you have like compassion for yourself somehow, even if you're still working to like forgive yourself or other people, or if you're trying to come to a place of sort of like disconnecting from that idea that you must forgive and forget. And you are holding on to that kind of like anger, that sacred rage, not as something that is like shameful or in some sort of way needs to be kind of eroded from you or apologized for, but something that is really like part of your self-love. It's the fire of self-love. It's a part of you that knows, hey, something occurred, or like a series of things occurred that were not right. Things were done to me. I went through things. People treated me a certain kind of way. And to hold on to that energy inside doesn't speak as bitterness. It speaks to almost like bringing that up into kind of a raging blaze inside of you that speaks of this like primordial fierceness, sort of like, this is who I've become based on those experiences that have shaped me. Yes, I have the capacity for forgiveness and to truly like let go of certain things and move on, to give that out as I see fit. But I also have the capacity to hold on to the times where I truly was wronged, or things occurred that were not, high vibrational experiences. And it's almost like you hold on to things in a way that this person sees as very empowering. You're not giving your power away by creating this false sort of narrative of like, oh yeah, I forgive all of that. It was a treacherous, horrible experience. It was horrible what was done to me, what those people put me through, what that person put me through. But don't worry, I forgive and forget. It's like, if you're not at that point, or that doesn't resonate with what feels right or your belief system, and in any way that's kind of like translated for you through to this person, maybe it's in your energy, it's in the way that you carry yourself, or it's in something that you've shared, even like a backstory that you've told this person about, in the way you speak about things, even if you're like over it in some sort of way, or it's been time, or you've created peace or created closure. This is somebody that sees you still hold that fierce fire inside of you that is like, yeah, I might have moved on from certain events, but I don't forgive and forget that wrong that occurred. And instead of using that as an excuse to kind of bring others down, or keep myself low, I use that as fire, as motivation to continue to strive for the better version of me, to illuminate who I have become in the aftermath of everything that kind of brought me to my knees, or, disappointed me, or was just like a very kind of like negative, or, just horrible experience, or like series of experiences. All of that candid sort of energy, in addition to sort of the sweetness, the docile aspect of you, the kindness within you, the compassion within you for yourself, for other people, how you live your life, how you are giving of yourself to others, how you're giving to yourself even. This is something that like the full package of you resonates so much with what this person feels like they want, they need, they desire at this stage in their life. because this is somebody that feels like that wants to take the lead, to a certain extent, like from this point moving forward. Like there's some kind of like next steps that need to take place between the two of you. Maybe they need to provide some clarity, or an aspect of yourself that you've shown. This it's kind of like activated this part of this person that's like, you've helped me to kind of lift a burden or let go of a burden within. I want to do the same for you. I want to help you to know that like you are enough. What you bring to the table is magnificent. Whatever you've been through, the ways in which you've put your pieces back together, it's glorious. It's everything. I love that. And this is something that it feels like this is happening because of the way that you are embodying both that light and shadow within you without apology. Even if you're like, I'm still trying to find a way to do that process within, even if you haven't shared that with this person directly, or maybe you have, maybe you've spoken about things like that. Maybe you're sort of informing this person about things that, are part of your spiritual path, your wellness path, your self-love path, even just kind of like different sort of hobbies or practices or interests that you have that you've like shared with them. All of this is something that this person is seeing as a very complimentary, it's a very healing, it's a very enticing, it's a very inviting energy that you put forth for them. The full experience of you is very pleasing and very satisfying. And this is somebody that is not resisting that pull towards you. This is somebody that is not indulging in the energies of fear that would cause them to postpone things or wait, or, take things slowly. This is somebody that's like, I submit to this pull. You, without knowing it, have helped me to kind of like leave certain degrees of like emotional baggage behind me, energetic baggage behind me, because I'm so fixated and fascinated on what's happening in the moment with you here and now. Everything that I'm coming to discover about you has my full attention. And that is something that this person wants to celebrate. They want to honor that. They want to treat you like the goddess or the queen or the empress that they see that you are, that you have kind of like crowned yourself as that. You own everything about yourself. Even the parts that are kind of like uncomfortable, it's like they can see that resides in a place where you're not denying those aspects of yourself. You just have those kind of darker aspects on a leash to a certain extent. You're able to kind of like honor that sort of optimism in the here and now, as well as kind of the difficulties or, injustices, pain, disappointment, whatever that's kind of looked like, that has created that sort of complementary aspect of like a spectrum of darkness within, that in this person's eyes only makes your light all the more luminous, all the more radiant. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.